Today we're diving into what's been called a blueprint for authentic masculinity, and it's all distilled from 27 years of deep Islamic study by an educator named Abdullah Oduro. Right off the bat, this quote really sets the stage. Oduro says, "I've seen men destroy their marriages." He's making a really big claim here, that Islam offers this comprehensive blueprint, but he believes most men have only ever scratched the surface of it. So the stakes are pretty high from the get-go.
So let's get into it. Let's unpack this 27-year blueprint, which really frames manhood as a purpose-driven life.
And this framework isn't just some theories someone cooked up. It's born from one man's dedicated journey, a full 27 years of study, and that includes a really significant 8 years spent in Al-Madinah, the city of the Prophet.
Okay, so where does all this begin? Well, it all starts with what Oduro calls the spiritual foundation. You can think of it like an unseen North Star that guides every single thing we're about to talk about. And at the very heart of that foundation is monotheism, or what's known as Tawheed. As you can see, this is the unwavering belief in one singular God. According to this framework, this is the absolute, non-negotiable starting point for everything.
And here's where you see the payoff of that belief. The quote says it all. "A man does not bow down to anyone except the Creator. This is what gives him strength. This is what gives him liberation." So it's framed as the ultimate source of freedom from all those worldly pressures.
So what's the practical result of that mindset? It's a man who's freed from needing validation from anyone or anything else. Not from society, not from his peers, not even from his own ego. I mean, just think about the kind of internal independence that creates. This is presented as a true cornerstone of his character.
And this brings us to the power of intention. Now, this isn't just about wishful thinking, it's an active tool for mastering yourself. You face temptation, you actively choose to resist it for that higher purpose you've set, and in that very struggle, you gain inner strength. The struggle itself actually becomes a source of power.
So, with that spiritual foundation in place, how do you actually build the man himself? Well, this next part is all about forging the man from the inside out, using that foundation as the raw material. Now, this is a really subtle but crucial point. The idea isn't to erase who you are, but to modify your nature for a higher purpose. So innate anger isn't seen as just a toxic thing. It's a powerful energy that you can channel to, say, defend the oppressed. Competitiveness isn't just for your ego. It's fuel that you can channel into doing good. You refine your nature. You don't try to replace it. And this connects to a deeper idea of true strength. The source points to this saying, the strong believer is better than the weak believer. But, where does that strength actually come from? It's not just about being physically tough. It starts inside. The idea is that if the heart is rectified, if it's aligned with that core purpose, then the rest of you, your actions, will naturally follow.
Now, this next point might surprise you, because it's a very countercultural idea in many places. Crying is not weakness. In this framework, expressing deep emotion, whether it's from remembrance, from loss, from awe, it's seen as a mercy from God and a vital way to release stress. It can actually be a source of power, not a sign that you've lost. Okay, so from the internal world of character, we now shift to how that man actually acts in the real world. Because in the end, his actions, his relationships, and his responsibilities are what truly define him.
I want you to just pause on this number for a second. It's meant to highlight a really key principle in this blueprint when it comes to a man's conduct.
And here it is. Gentleness and kindness with women is the standard. The source is really emphatic about this. This isn't some optional extra or something you do only when you're in a good mood. It's presented as the fundamental default setting. Anything less than that, it says, just spoils the whole interaction.
And this idea then extends to what are called the pillars of responsibility. So let's break this down. The first point defines men as caretakers and providers. This means having a genuine responsibility for the well-being of his family, physically, emotionally, spiritually. But, and this is critical, the second point clarifies that this leadership is based on protection and provision, not tyranny. It's framed as service, not domination, which is why running from that duty is seen as a form of weakness. And finally, the goal isn't just to start a family, but to maintain it, a continuous, active commitment that is held up as a core, noble aspiration for a man. So, we've looked at the spiritual foundation, the inner character, and the outer conduct. Now let's tie it all together with the one single unifying principle that gives it all meaning: purpose.
And that purpose is summarized so powerfully in this Quranic verse, which is used as a guidepost. Say, indeed, my prayer, my sacrifice, my living, and my dying are for Allah.
It means every single action, from the smallest thing to the biggest, is all oriented towards this one single goal.
And that, according to this blueprint, is the ultimate differentiator. This singular focus, to live a life that pleases the Creator, is what gives this model of masculinity its unique direction, its meaning, and what separates him from everyone else.
And that brings us to our final slide, and really just a question to leave you with. In a world that is just filled with competing ideas and different paths, what does a blueprint for a meaningful life, for anyone, look like to you?